One of the things I've been trying to do lately is encourage my clients to go to bed earlier and also wake up earlier. And while I was looking at some of my sleep metrics, I found some data points that I thought could be convincing for this argument, but also kind of um, insightful on how it affects the improvement to the quality of your sleep by waking up earlier, but also going to bed earlier. Um, One thing that's obvious is that if you increase your total sleep time, you got a really strong positive correlation on REM sleep. So that kind of goes without saying. The more longer you sleep, the more capability you are going to have of getting into REM sleep, which is really where your body does most of its, and your mind does most of its learning. But something kind of interesting is that if we move on, so readiness score, right now we're comparing bedtime to readiness score. Readiness score kind of takes like a very, very general snapshot of how your body recovered during the night. And so here's one thing, is that the later I went to bed, the less my readiness score was. So that is already kind of a phenomenon. You know, there's a weak negative correlation, saying, because generally maybe if I'm going to sleep late, maybe I'm still getting 8 hours of sleep that night. But nonetheless, there is a weak negative correlation from your bedtime, with your bedtime and your readiness score. And so readiness score is like, deep sleep, light sleep, and with respect to your activity and everything else. Before we go straight to our sleep score, bedtime has a moderate negative correlation to your sleep score. But now how about wake up time? So if you wake up earlier, that is going, or if you wake up later, that causes your deep sleep to go to get less. So there's a negative correlation between wake up time and deep sleep. And you kind of have to think about it backwards. The earlier you wake up, the better your deep sleep is going to be in the subsequent days, because the later you wake up, the less your deep sleep becomes, and that's the negative correlation. One of the reasons why I didn't do wake up time to sleep score is because sometimes if you wake up early, you're going to cut your whole night's sleep short. So that's going to decrease the total time of sleep, which that's like the X factor that you really need to pay attention to, is that you have to you have to make sure you're getting enough sleep, or else it's going to not be so good for you. That being said, if you still wake up earlier, it's going to improve your deep sleep regardless. So, and let's take a look at REM sleep as well. Let's see if it does the same for REM. I don't think it's going to affect. I think it's going to be bad against REM because of the nature of the beast. So if you actually wake up earlier, or the later you wake up, the later you wake up, the better your REM sleep becomes. And that makes perfect sense, because typically your deep sleep is at the beginning of your night and your REM sleep is towards the end of the day. So essentially, the longer you sleep in, the more time you have in REM. So as far as like what you need for your body to recover, deep sleep. For your mind and your thoughts and learning, that's all in REM sleep. Moral of the story is get enough sleep, but waking up earlier, no matter what, improves your deep sleep with respect to your total time in bed.